What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the CotAcasT. My name is Bermudez, and I'm the host of the CotAcasT, the Craft of the Air podcast, the aviation podcast that expands your knowledge in each episode. Join us as we explore the untold world of aviation together. I'm so glad that you guys are tuned in for another episode. And today we are diving in into a topic that often really it flies under the radar. But it's really crucial to our safety and really our comfort in the skies. Today we're paying homage to the unsung heroes of aviation, the maintenance engineers, those diligent artists of the airstrip who tirelessly keep our flying dreams afloat. And really their world, our world, is one of complexity and precision. It's a dance of safety, protocols, multitasking marvels, intricate documentation, and all coming together in a crescendo of engineering brilliance. And it really allows us to traverse the skies. In this episode, episode 42, we speak about aircraft maintenance engineers, the unsung heroes behind our safe flights. First things first, today's episode of the CotAcasT is brought to you by Craft of the Air. Stuck on ideas? You're looking to facilitate advances in aviation maintenance? Consulting by COTA possesses unique resources to elevate your aviation projects to new heights. Get comprehensive advice, detailed reports, and cutting-edge data on innovative solutions that empower you to make confident decisions. Are you an A&P student? Need a refresher? Look no further than Cram by COTA. Consolidated reviews of aviation maintenance, consolidated the subject matter expert is going to ensure that you're fully prepared to really excel in any aviation maintenance exam. With aviation maintenance training and consulting, COTA is a second you when you need it. Your personal aviation assistant for everything in the field of aviation maintenance. Visit www.craftoftheair.com. Again, that's www.craftoftheair.com today and learn everything COTA is of the air. So now we dive into it. Really it's imagine the scene. While most people are at home enjoying dinner, they're tucked in bed, in the evening, these professionals are working tirelessly in ground facilities and in closed hangars to make sure that planes that we board are in top-notch condition. And remember, we're not just talking about commercial planes, we also speak about cargo aircraft that transport goods, like life-saving medical equipment. Now, we dive into everything aviation maintenance, the night and the life of an aircraft maintenance technician. And a lot of people in the general public may not even know everything that goes on in a typical night cast. Being freshman, week, and teaching a lot of freshman classes and speaking to a lot of freshman aircraft maintenance students coming into engineering, going over the basics of what we do as aircraft maintenance professionals out there on the line. A lot of people are unfamiliar with it. It's not a common job or profession. May be tempted when we go into it, tempted to think that these engineers are high-level mechanics, but they're much more than that. Really, very similar to when I was writing this episode, very similar to an airplane doctor. Aircraft maintenance engineers are trained rigorously in diagnostics, analysis, critical care of aviation components. You take an example. It's think of an example, and to even be in this role, aircraft maintenance engineers they undergo years of specialized training and certifications. A lot of people may not know that they have to know the ins and outs of the specific Air 7 to an Airbus A321neo. Very similar to a cardiologist would know the human heart. And we know that every airline doesn't necessarily have the same aircraft. So really an A&P throughout his career with so many different types of aircraft makes and models, really goes through years and years of specialized training and reoccurring training. You know, the safety, when you think about safety, is a really big part of the job, and it's not just a part of their job of an aircraft maintenance engineer. It is their job. Safety is our job out there. You know, really every bolt that is tightened, every component that is inspected. You know, it's a safeguard against potential failure. Now, these engineers, they carry the weight of human lives in their hands. And think about the immense responsibility that comes with, you know, approving an aircraft for flight, knowing that that any oversight could have dire consequences. This comes in every shift for an aircraft maintenance professional. Now, you know, I spoke about this in one of my freshman classes earlier this week. And we speak so much about preventative maintenance, you know, doing things to ensure that the aircraft is in a great state so that we may prevent, you know, future maintenance from having to occur. Preventative maintenance inspections, they're really an essential cornerstone of aircraft maintenance engineers' duties, and regulatory bodies such as the FAA, EASA. They enforce stringent guidelines on preventative maintenance. You know, it's not just about meeting a minimum criteria. It's about setting the bar high with safety. You know, when you speak about preventative maintenance, you know, engineers, they'll check everything from wing flaps to navigation systems, landing gear, wheel assemblies, flight actuation systems. I mean, for example, you know, for preventative maintenance, you know, when you think about preventative maintenance, rather than changing an aircraft tire that needs replacement or not, they might also check for, you know, oil levels and hydraulic systems, just to be thorough, just to make sure that that aircraft is kept to a high standard. You know, and that really goes in preserving and making sure that aircraft is going to be running in its most efficient state for years to come. You know, you think, you know, one of the biggest things that I think about when I think about aircraft maintenance is really adaptability. You know, an aircraft maintenance engineer, you know, adaptability to varying conditions, you know, is really inspiring. If people were able to actually see all the things that aircraft maintenance professional deals with in just maybe one single shift. You know, engineers, they really adjust their work scope, and that's based on, you know, challenges like damage due to foreign object debris, you know, fluctuating operating conditions. You know, just last year, an aircraft had to be grounded, and this was due to a bird strike, and maintenance engineers, you know, they worked around the clock to get that aircraft, you know, ready for departure in the morning. You know, or consider when an aircraft lands with a hydraulic leak. You know, these engineers are there ready to solve complex problems to make sure that aircraft is safe and ready to go for passengers, for paying passengers. You know, it's interesting because when you think about an aircraft maintenance engineer, you have a hydraulic leak, and there's so many things that may go into that on you know, very simple write-up that's on a logbook. That night could go in so many different directions from there. Oh man, David, you listening? That adaptability really has to come with multitasking. You know, there could be a million things happening at once, and a million, you know, you have to, the multitasking elements in keeping your composure and being able to continue to think logically, and you know, in in an efficient way, really. It comes with the job. That multitasking is second nature to aircraft maintenance engineers. They have to coordinate with so many different departments: customer service, internal programs, quality assurance teams. They juggle multiple tasks and responsibilities by the minute. I mean, you can be on the phone with maintenance control. You can have a gate call. You could be speaking to the first officer and have maintenance control on the phone, and you can have flight attendants behind you, asking you if they could continue boarding. Kids crying. There could be a million things happening. And all the while you're trying to troubleshoot or maybe solve a problem to a very complex system, or complex problem to a specific system. You speak about multitasking. Maintenance engineers handle urgent repairs, also ordering parts, keeping documentation, legal documentation up to date. It's really a balancing act that requires extreme focus and agility. Let's be really real. I think a lot of the public has a misconception on what an aircraft mechanic does out there while you're sleeping, and maybe getting up, getting the family ready for the family vacation. Oof. That's the worst, right? Like 5 o'clock in the morning, you're getting the kids ready. I don't even have kids, and I'll tell you, because I work at airports to see it. You have to get the family ready. This is all happening. You get to the aircraft. People will have no idea what it may have taken for that aircraft to be at that gate ready to go. I take it a step further. People may not even want to see what that aircraft looked like maybe an hour or two before they got on it, or to even have an idea on some of the problems and the tasks that some of those maintenance engineers were faced with. And when you think about repairs, authorized repairs, really, it comes to, when you think about authorized repairs, it's think of it like a pharmacist dispensing medicine. Each step must be verified and validated. Faulty, I'm staying with the medical theme here. Faulty engine components. You think about a faulty component in a turbine engine, for example. It can only be replaced by OME approved part. And forget about we speak about documentation in a second, but documentation, people may think, they're just changing something. Can change something that it could be a 3-hour job, and you could be doing 4 hours of paperwork just to document everything that you did on that. The aircraft maintenance engineer can't just replace something, right? And write down on a piece of paper, hey, I replaced this. I did it with my best knowledge. The plane is A-OK, good to go. A lot of people may not realize that an aircraft maintenance engineer has to put legal terms and describe what they did. Use certain terminology and certain approved references to describe every task that may be done on that aircraft. And really, thinking about the authorized repairs, a lot of repair work that aircraft maintenance engineers need to do, similar, if a light goes out in a cockpit, it's not just a simple bulb replacement. The component and its wiring, they also have to meet aviation standard specifications, approved methods of accomplishing these tasks. And if you have to troubleshoot something, how are you troubleshooting it? Which schematic, which troubleshooting reference are you using? Which aircraft maintenance manual are you using? These are all things. Now, documentation is a big one. Kind of like what I mentioned before, an aircraft maintenance engineer may spend hours documenting their night's work. Documentation, it may sound somewhat mundane, but it's really, crucial. and long-term, safety, accountability. Every minor rubber seal to individual turbine fan blades is documented and recorded. Part numbers, serial numbers, multiple copies of documents made, copies that need to be left with the pilot, aircraft, maintenance, you name it. And this is important. It's like detective work, where each piece of the puzzle can help to, solve or possibly prevent future issues, right? Even the tools used in the repairs have to be logged. A lot of people may not know that. We have tools that are serialized, tools that have aircraft maintenance engineers' initials on them in case they're left in an unsafe area. There are so many aspects to the job, the complexity, really, of some of the tasks. It could be mind-blowing if you really explain them full nature to some people. Imagine having to dismantle and reassemble an entire jet engine and ensuring that every part fits perfectly, everything was torqued correctly, or calibrating a sensitive navigational instrument that pilots rely on for safe flight. These aren't tasks that you can rush. They really require meticulous attention to detail, meticulous attention to ability to troubleshoot and understand mechanical systems and electrical systems and interpret faults and problems. There's so many facets to it, really. Real-time, monitoring is a big part of it. Real-time monitoring of operational parameters. It helps maintenance. It helps aircraft maintenance engineers. Think about EGT, exhaust gas temperature. It adds another layer to responsibility. But real-time monitoring, it helps. When you think about an EGT, an exhaust gas temperature sensor, when an EGT reading, it nears its maximum limit, it triggers an immediate action. And this isn't just about watching a gauge. It involves interpreting a multitude of data points, from fuel consumption to air pressure, to make timely and accurate decisions. All goes into it. As I kind of wrap it up, there were so many things that we can go on about in aviation maintenance, and I know we always have so many great, amazing guests on the CotAcasT. There's always that opportunity an aircraft maintenance engineer could be doing this for 20, 30 years, and you always learn something new, especially in aviation. But going into this simple, kind of breakdown of what we look at in typical maintenance shifts, programs, there is a lot more to it than the public may think, or maybe people in aviation that are unfamiliar with aviation maintenance. For those who want to explore further, definitely, why not visit an aviation maintenance facility or engage in the online forums, groups, join that CotAcasT mailing list. That about wraps it up. It's getting late. That about wraps it up for this episode. There's no editing on this. This is one take. That's how I do it. That about wraps it up for this week's episode of the CotAcasT. There it is. If you guys have not done so already, please take this opportunity to visit the Craft of the Air website at www.craftoftheair.com. Again, that's www.craftoftheair.com, and get your free initial consultation today. Craft of the Air, our craft is of the air. Comments or suggestions about this or future episodes? Let's get in touch. Visit that Craft of the Air website at www.craftoftheair.com. Go to contact and drop in the subject CotAcasT. Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the CotAcasT. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Craft of the Air Instagram. We got the Twitter, the YouTube. What's going on right now? You got to get over to that YouTube channel immediately. And we also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. Always appreciate all of the support. Thanks again, guys, for listening to today's episode. I hope you guys have a safe and healthy day. I'll be seeing you soon.